page 16. Life and Death, Sadhguru, 2011. Chapter 1. Living Life to the Fullest. 1.2. You are seeking a relationship because you want to be happy. Fundamentally, why have we sought a relationship? If you do not have any kind of relationship in your life, you become depressed. So fundamentally, you are seeking a relationship because you want to be happy, you want to be joyful. Or in other words, you are trying to use the other as a source of your happiness. When you are trying to use the other person as a source of your happiness, it means that your happiness is not on self-start. Maybe nobody here is old enough for this, but let us say you bought a car in the 1940s. If you got yourself a car in the 40s, along with the car you have to get yourself 2 servants, because morning you need to do push start. In the 50s if you got a car, 1 servant would do, because it was crank start. Now all your automobiles are self-start. But your happiness is still on push start, isn't it? Somebody has to push it a little bit, otherwise it will not get started. If you put your happiness on self-start, and if you are happy by your own nature, relationships will become a means for you to express your happiness, not to seek happiness. If you are forming relationships to seek happiness, you trying to squeeze happiness out of somebody and that person trying to squeeze happiness out of you, this is going to be a painful relationship after some time. But if you have become a joy by yourself, nobody is going to complain about you because you are in the process of expressing your joy, not seeking joy from the other person. You can hold a million relationships and still hold them well. Now, this whole circus of trying to fulfill somebody else's expectations does not arise, because if you are an expression of joy, they anyway want to be with you. If you are trying to extract joy from them, then they want to avoid you. Isn't it so? Shifting your life from pursuit of happiness to an expression of joyfulness is what needs to happen if relationships really have to work on all levels, because they are of many kinds. Right now, your body is made in such a way that it still needs a relationship. Your mind is made in such a way that it still needs a relationship. Your emotions are made in such a way that they still need a relationship. And deeper down, your very energies are made in such a way that you still need a relationship on that level also. If your body goes in search of a relationship, we call this sexuality. If your mind goes in search of relationships, we call this companionship. If your emotion goes in search of relationships, we call this love. If your energies go in search of relationship, we call this yoga. All these efforts are just an attempt to become one with something else, isn't it? Whether it is sexuality, or companionship, or love, or yoga, you are trying to become one with something else. Because somehow, just being who you are right now is not enough. How can you become one with somebody else? Physically you have tried. It looks like you are going to make it, but you know you fall apart. Mentally you have tried many times, you thought you are really there, but you know 2 minds are never one. You have known enough life to know that, isn't it? 2 minds are never one. No matter what you do with them, no matter how close you think you are never really one. Emotionally you thought you really made it, yes. It gave you the feeling that you really made it. 2 people have really, claps hands together, become one, but lines come up very easily, isn't it? So, all these 3 things you have tried. It gives you nearness to that experience, but it does not make you one. There is a longing to become one with something else, because you feel the way this one is right now is not sufficient. This longing is not going to stop with just becoming one with one being, because it will long for more. It remains a longing forever. The very longing may become a sweet experience for people, and they may get addicted to the longing. But if you really have a longing, then you want to reach the destination someday, isn't it? You want to reach a fulfillment. And this cannot be fulfilled physically, or mentally or emotionally. So, what is the way to fulfill this longing to become one with something? Do you know today modern science is telling you that the whole existence is just one energy manifesting itself in a million different ways? When you say E equals mk squared, what are you saying? You are saying it is all the same energy. This and that are the same energy right now. Maybe it is not in your perception, but that is the reality. It is a scientific fact, isn't it? And the religions of the world have been screaming for a long time that God is everywhere. Whether you say God is everywhere, or you say everything is the same energy, it is the same reality expressed in two different ways. A scientist has not experienced this reality. He has somehow mathematically deduced this reality. He has no experience that everything is one energy. He does not experience this and that as one. A religious person also has not experienced it, but he believes that it is all God. Now a yogi means somebody who is not willing to settle for deductions or belief systems. He wants to know it. If you have such a longing that you want to know it, then you have to pursue yoga. The word yoga means that in your experience, everything has become one. When I say yoga, don't think I am talking about a particular way of nodding your limbs, or holding your breath, or standing on your head. Anything that leads to this union is called yoga, whichever way. So how many ways are there to reach to your ultimate union with life, or with everything? You can only work with what you have, isn't it? So what is it that you call as myself right now? You have a body, you have a mind, you have an emotion, and there is an energy which keeps everything going. Your energies may not be in your experience, but you can easily infer and see, if this one, pointing to himself, has to function like this, there is some kind of energy making this happen, right? That much everybody can understand. We may not understand how this microphone works right now, but because it is amplifying the sound, we can understand that some kind of energy source, i.e. either a battery cell, or a powerhouse as some kind of energy source is behind this. Yes. So these are the four realities for you: body, mind, emotion and energy. Are these four things a reality within you? All four of them exist every moment of your life. If you employ your body and try to reach your ultimate nature, we call this karma yoga, the yoga of action. If you employ your intelligence and try to reach your ultimate nature, we call this jnana yoga, the yoga of intelligence. If you employ your emotion and try to reach your ultimate nature, we call this bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion or emotion. If you transform your inner energies and try to reach your ultimate nature, we call this kriya yoga, the yoga of transforming energies. These are the only four ways you can do it, because these are the only four things that you really have. The rest is imagination. They may be there but not in your experience. What is not in your experience is not a reality for you, isn't it? Modern scientists are talking about 11 parallel dimensions happening right here, but that is not in your experience, isn't it? You can only make a theory out of it, you can only believe it, but it is not yet a reality for you. You cannot work with it. Only when it comes into your experience you can work with it. So these are the only four realities. If you want to get somewhere, all these four aspects have to function together, only then you get somewhere. with one aspect, you do not get anywhere. What these four dimensions are is just head, heart, hands and energy. Is there anybody here who is just one big head, no heart at all, no hands at all, no energy? Or one big heart, not the other things? You are a combination of these four things, isn't it? These four things have come together in different ways in every person. So accordingly, the right kind of yoga has to be mixed in the right proportion, otherwise it does not work. Now, if I give this person one type of yoga, it works miraculously for him. If I give the same thing to you, it is not going to work because you are not the same combination. This is why the traditions have always insisted on a live guru, because he just mixes the right concoction for you. Unless you mix it properly, the cocktail has no punch, isn't it? Because each one is a unique combination of these four things, relationships cannot be managed, but if you handle these four things within you properly, you can include the other as a part of yourself. Instead of trying to manage relationships A, which is impossible actually, if you just learn to include the other as a part of yourself, your life becomes an expression of joyfulness, not a pursuit of happiness. Then you will see, relationships have various colors, but every color could be enjoyed. Every color of it, every color and hue that it takes on, could be just fine. In this inclusion, all the differences are okay. Differences add color and dimension to our lives. Always the problem with the other person is that he does not think like you and feel like you. Can you imagine, if there was one more person like you in your house, could you live there? That would be a horror, isn't it? Laughs. Fortunately, nobody else is like you. But that is what you are complaining about, that they are different. What is adding color and dimension to your life? That is what you are complaining about, because there is no sense of inclusiveness. If you have included the other as a part of yourself, you could enjoy all these differences. Then even if you do not understand what the hell is happening with the other person, still it is okay. One of our meditators, after a program with us, came back and said, after all this yoga, now I am able to understand what is my life, but I am unable to understand what is my wife. Laughter. You cannot understand, you just have to include. If you make her a part of yourself, you somehow have a wonderful relationship. You do not have to understand every damn thing that the other person is. In fact, they will feel threatened if you understand everything. Isn't it? They will get scared. People are not looking for understanding, though they claim that they are looking for understanding. It is inclusiveness that you are seeking in a relationship. Wherever there is no inclusion from your side, it is there that people are trouble, please see. Don't try to manage them. Don't try to administer them. People do not like these things. Nobody likes it. Do you like to be managed by somebody? You thought everything was very spontaneous, and one day you realized somebody has been doing super management on you. Do you like it? Number. So why do you think the other person should like it? They also will not like it. Nobody likes to be managed. But everybody longs to be included. Inclusion does not mean you have to go and hug everybody on the street. It is just the way you are, that is all. So, if you try to manage relationships with your brilliant management, you will see it will just give you hell. Generally, the smartest people on the planet have those people who think they are really smart. It tends to have the most horrible relationships. People who are just simple, they have wonderful relationships because it is not a question of management. Lots of relationships are going bad, not because of any bad intentions. Most of them go bad with good intentions. Good intentions are unbearable many times. Isn't it so? There was a new lawyer. It was his first case. He is very enthusiastic, he really wants to do his best. He lost the case. Then he went to meet his client who was in custody. He went and told him, "I have good news and bad news for you. Which do you want first?" The man said, "Okay, give me the bad news first." So the lawyer said, "You have been sentenced to death." Then the man asked, "What the hell can be good news after this?" The lawyer said, "I really fought hard and got the voltage reduced for you." So good intentions and too much enthusiasm without the necessary sense about the other person can create too many problems in relationships. Managing relationships is not what needs to be done. Relationships are longing for inclusiveness, and if you approach it as such and include the other as a part of yourself, then however they are, whichever way they are, they will be just fine with you. They will be just wonderful for you. Now relationships will only become a way of looking towards the other's needs, not about your own, because you have no needs of your own anymore. Everybody wants to be with you because your need is gone. This is the funny thing about life, when you have a need, nobody wants to be with you. When your need is gone, everybody wants to be with you. It is only when the flower blossoms the bees will come. If you do not blossom, bees will not come. If you are a closed bud and call the bees, they will not come. If you open up, you do not have to call, they will anyway come. If you enhance who you are on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, energy-wise, if you enhance yourself into a very beautiful state, everybody wants to hold a relationship with you. Then everything else gets naturally managed. You do not keep yourself well in any of these levels, and you expect people to be with you, a broken bar. Now you have become a burden. The problem with us is, if we are growing a garden, we are always trying to focus on the flower and the fruit. It is not the flower and the fruit that you should focus on, it is the root that you need to focus on. Rather than nurturing the roots, you are constantly seeking the flower and fruit. You do not have to sit there and pray for flowers and fruits. If you nurture the root, the flowers will anyway fall on your head, even if you do not look for them. The flower and fruit will not come if you do not nurture the roots. You can only dream about it. But if you nurture the root, flowers and fruits will anyway happen. That is so with the garden, and that is so with your life. Page 25.